to have made the suspect see Barnabas as a threat, which he openly swore to eliminate. Now, this suspect was not a stranger to the family. In the past, Barnabas's family had been involved in a land dispute with him, and after the matter was presented before the entire community, it was ruled in favor of Barnabas's family. However, after the land dispute's victory, the suspect had been vying to wipe out their entire family. Now, the interesting part is that while Pastor Ignatius had gone out that evening, this said suspect was alleged to have traveled all the way from their village to the hospital, which was in a neighboring community, just to confirm if the family was dead. According to the sister, when the suspect arrived at the hospital, he stood at the entrance of the ward and then discussed with the nurse. After the discussion, the nurse allegedly called her with the sole intention of distracting her, but she refused to leave the ward, saying that things were not going as planned. The suspect, who was in the company of another young man, then went away with the nurse. On hearing this, Pastor Ignatius decided to stay in the hospital till the next morning so that he could take his brother and his family out of the facility. However, a crazy event that would take place in the next couple of hours would turn out to be the time that would see Pastor Ignatius's world home crashing down. On that Sunday night, the pastor slept in the hospital together with his two sisters. Then, between 9 and 10 p.m., after the sick family had taken their medications and gone to sleep, a nurse came in to tell Pastor Ignatius and the sisters that it was not convenient for the two children to stay in the same ward with their parents. The nurse informed the family members that she had prepared a separate room for the children and that she would take the children there while the parents remained where they were. Pastor Ignatius was delighted by what he assumed was a good gesture and even thanked her for helping his family. The nurse then asked one of the pastor's sisters to take the last child and follow her, which she did. Pastor Ignatius followed them to the nurse's room and sat down, leaving his second sister and his brother's first child in the same room with the parents. After a while, the nurse returned to the ward where Barnabas and his wife were staying, and then called out the remaining sister and Barnabas's first son. All of them then went out to stay with the pastor in the nurse's room, leaving Barnabas and his wife alone in the ward. As time passed, Pastor Ignatius recalled what his sister had told him earlier in the day, and immediately he rose and rushed to his brother's room, where he made a very shocking discovery. A pastor saw the nurse allegedly removing the oxygen mask from his brother's wife's nose and then putting something inside her mouth. He shouted immediately and then asked the nurse what she was doing. A pastor rushed to his brother's wife and shook her, but she was not responding. It became clear to him that she was already gone. Pastor Ignatius then called the police that night, and when they arrived, they said they would arrest the nurse at that instance, but they would return the following morning